This is the Thunder Update. I'm Mike Sherman. He's Anthony Slater, and we're talking about the Thunder's apparent hire of assistant coach Anthony Grant. Of course, Anthony Grant worked with Billy Donovan 12 years, Marshall and Florida. What is it about this hire that makes this a good one for Oklahoma City Thunder and Billy Donovan?
Just it's a trust factor. I mean, Billy Donovan wants to bring in a guy. He doesn't know the NBA, and you worry about that in assistants. But you need an assistant that knows him, that's been there with him, been through the fire, and it may go beyond Anthony Grant. Maybe a guy like John Pelfrey will follow too. But Anthony Grant seems to be one of his most trusted, probably humans on the planet, basically, that knows him well. And that's where we've kind of waited for this. The Thunder haven't made it official. It's not an official hiring. There may not even be the contract stuff worked out, but I think it's pretty clear that Anthony Grant was always going to follow Donovan here. A
lot of this shoe to drop, of course. Florida hired a replacement for Billy Donovan yesterday, and that guy from Louisiana Tech means that he's probably bringing in his own staff. So people down in Florida are trying to figure out the comings and goings here, and one of the goings was Anthony Grant to Oklahoma City. You talked about the familiarity, 12 years as an assistant. They came out of college the same time. Grant at Dayton, Billy Donovan at Providence. They all have young children. What's Grant's reputation? What's sort of his claim to fame?
You know, I mean, the last 6 or so years, or maybe even longer than that, in 06, Florida wins the national championship. He's the lead assistant for Florida from 02 to 06. They win the national championship. He gets the job at VCU. He kind of turns VCU into a good job, gets them in the tournament. They beat Duke with Eric Maynard, former Thunder point guard, was kind of the star of those teams. He ended up coaching Larry Sanders, who's now was in the NBA. You know, everything that's going on with him. And then that vaults him into the Alabama job. He gets in the SEC. He's been at Alabama for about 6 years now. First 3 years were good. Last 3 years he kind of tailed off. He was actually fired by the school in March, rehired by Billy Donovan to be on the Florida staff this past April, but everyone knows what's happened since. So he hasn't been the greatest head coach. He's had ups and downs, but I mean, as an assistant, it's clear Billy Donovan trusts him more than just about anybody.
He's going back into that role, won't be in front of the microphones, especially the way the Thunder usually operates with their assistants not doing a great deal of talking. No. Billy Donovan, Anthony Grant, sort of a mind meld there. Anthony, one thing that interests me about that is, is it recruiting. You know, he's credited with bringing Corey Brewer to Florida from Tennessee, Teddy Dupay, some of the other guys. He coached high school basketball in Miami. And was helping Florida there. But also, he's back into a role as assistant coach and in sort of developing and building talent. All of these guys from Florida playing in the NBA, sort of the player development role, is this a good fit for the Thunder in what he can do and has done?
I mean, player development is a factor. You can see he probably is good at that because, like you mentioned, I mean, there's so many Florida guys in the NBA. But the Thunder could go out and get a lot of guys that can do player development. Their last staff, the Scott Brooks staff, great at player development. The reason why Anthony Grant is here clearly is because of his connection to Billy Donovan. The Thunder wouldn't have gone out and got him except for Billy Donovan wants him here. And when they're talking about, or right now they're figuring out how to compile this coaching staff. They want maybe guys who've been here, like a Darko Rajakovic, I think is going to stay. Guys with NBA experience, and guys who know Billy Donovan. And Anthony Grant's here because he knows Billy Donovan.
And of course, the tightness of them, their years together, that'd be a story interesting to follow, find out as we learn more about Billy Donovan, maybe more about Anthony Grant and their connection. But an obvious question is, when are they going to start addressing the lack of NBA coaching experience? How many of the guys are staying, and who might Oklahoma City look to be bringing in?
You know, like I mentioned, as we're talking about staying, I think Rajakovic, he's a guy Sam Presti kind of handpicked. I think he'll be here. Beyond that, Scott Brooks may get the Orlando job. That's kind of up in the air. I think a lot of the assistants that were here, Rex Kalami and some of those guys, will probably be on the way out. I think, and the rumblings are that they're going to go out and try to get a lead assistant that has NBA, maybe even head coaching experience, and he's defensive-minded. Mike Malone, I know, is a guy that you love. You know, a lot of people should. He kind of turned that Warriors defense under Mark Jackson into a good defense. Looked like he was changing the culture in Sacramento. They wanted more up-tempo. They fired him. He's a under the radar candidate for a Nuggets job, for the Magic job, for some other jobs that may open up. But if he doesn't get that, the Thunder right now, that lead assistant job is the best non-head coaching job out there on the market, because you can come in, you have a lot of tools to work with. A Serge Ibaka, this time next year you could be talked about like Alvin Gentry is now with the Warriors, kind of constructing a great defense. It could vault you into a head coaching job. So I think the Thunder have a lot to offer. They just may need to wait and see how the market kind of plays itself out.
The greatest thing, too, for that, Anthony, is the percent change. I mean, the defensive struggles that the Thunder had late in the season were obvious for everybody to see. And here's Mike Malone, who has ties to the Jeff Van Gundy tree that Billy Donovan was tied to way back at Providence. So you start connecting the dots. I know I have. What's next for the Thunder, Anthony? Big week next week. The NBA Combine is coming up. What do you know about that? It's a new sort of a new concept.
Yeah, there's going to be more, I think, gameplay in that. I mean, I don't know how much the Thunder will care about that sort of thing. They seem to be a team that operates and to bring guys in and work them out privately and figure that out and identify their own guy. But they have the 14th pick in the draft right now. The draft lottery, another thing we should probably talk about, the next May 19th, I believe. Russell Westbrook's going to be representing the Thunder there.
That's going to be interesting.
Very small chance that they jump up to 1, 2, or 3, but still a chance. If not 14, that's going to be that could be an impact guy in a deep draft, especially the way the Thunder draft. So that's something to watch. And then beyond that, you're going to look for restricted free agency. Ennis Cantor and Kyle Singler. Are they going to bring them back?
Sudden thought: why don't we have a lottery to see which outfit, what kind of fashion plate thing that Russell Westbrook puts on when he goes up for the NBA draft lottery?
It's going to be interesting. I'm thinking something kind of jacket with like ping pong balls on it. Or he's got to, dress to the occasion, right?
You can help him out. That's all for this Thunder update, but you can stay with the best coverage team every day at News OK and every morning in the Oklahoman.